Continuum music pedagogy, somatic practice and the Alexander technique, embodied awareness in a digitized world. Somatic techniques and the Alexander technique share a common ground. Both treat the body not as a machine to be corrected from the outside, but as a living, sensing system that can be re-educated from within. For the musician, this shared ground is especially fertile. The same principles that allow a free bow arm, a lengthened spine, a light touch, or an unforced breath are the principles these approaches cultivate. In a world increasingly mediated by screens, headphones, and digital interfaces, their relevance has only grown. Somatic work, in its broadest sense, invites the practitioner to attend to internal sensation, proprioception, interoception, the feeling of weight, space, and movement as they actually occur. Methods such as Feldenkrais, body-mind centering, or simply mindful exploratory movement train the nervous system to notice subtle differences and to choose more efficient, less effortful patterns. The Alexander technique, developed by F.M. Alexander in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, offers a precise and practical framework within this wider field. It focuses on the relationship of the head, neck, and spine, what Alexander called the primary control, and on the twin skills of inhibition, the ability to pause before reacting in a habitual way, and direction, the quiet mental projection of length and expansion. Where many somatic practices emphasize free exploration, Alexander work supplies a clear, repeatable means of interrupting the interference that so often collapses posture, shortens breath, and tightens the hands. Together, they address the very tendencies musicians must continually counteract. The habit of pulling the head back and down, of raising the shoulders, of gripping the instrument or the keys, of holding the breath, these are the same patterns that a digitized life reinforces. Hours spent leaning toward a laptop, curling the spine over a phone, or locking the neck while monitoring a screen produce exactly the chronic shortening and tension that both approaches seek to undo. The musician who then sits or stands to play brings those same patterns onto the instrument. Without a reliable means of noticing and releasing them, the orb of available space shrinks, the sound hardens, and fatigue or injury becomes more likely. The digital environment intensifies the need for such means. Practice is often recorded, edited, and evaluated through screens. Lessons occur over video calls, scores appear on tablets, performances may be live-streamed. Each of these tools is useful, yet each can pull attention outward and upward into the visual field while the body quietly contracts. The Alexander pause, stopping for a moment before launching into the next phrase or the next take, restores the possibility of choosing a free response rather than an automatic one. Somatic sensing keeps the player in contact with the actual weight of the arm, the contact of the feet with the floor, the movement of the ribs in breathing. In an age when so much musical information arrives as data, these practices return the musician to the primary data of lived sensation. Their relevance is therefore both restorative and preventive. Restoratively, they offer concrete ways to recover ease after prolonged screen time or after a tense rehearsal. Preventively, they build the capacity to remain embodied even while using digital tools. A violinist can check the relationship of head to spine before beginning a recorded take. A pianist can sense the contact of the sitting bones and the freedom of the arms while practicing with a metronome app. A cellist or bassist can reclaim height and width after hours of seated computer work. The same quiet directions, let the neck be free, the head move forward and up, the back lengthen and widen, apply equally to the physical instrument and to the virtual one. In the continuum of musical learning, these approaches do not replace technical instruction. They make technical instruction sustainable. The straight bow, the released tension, the use of gravity, the regular breath, all become more available when the underlying organization of the body is attended to. Consistent readjustment, already recognized as essential, finds in somatic and Alexander work a refined language and a reliable method. The player learns not only to notice that something has gone awry, but to inhibit the familiar interference and to direct a more constructive pattern. In a digitized world, the risk is that music itself becomes another stream of information rather than an embodied act. Somatic practice and the Alexander technique keep the body present inside that stream. They remind the musician that sound is produced by a living organism occupying real space, that permission to make a full sound still requires an open orb, and that the most sophisticated digital tools remain secondary to the primary instrument, the coordinated self. By returning again and again to sensation and to constructive direction, the player preserves both the health of the body and the authenticity of the sound.